0-2 on Gonzalez. Ground ball right side. Up with a kill off to second, run on the first, double play. And the ball game is over. And in a very important game, a very lifeless performance by the Red Sox offense as the A's, who've now won 5 in a row, beat Boston 2-1.
They just can't take these guys lightly, right? They want to play spoiler. That's what they want to do. Connelly early threw the ball well. You know, obviously 2 runs shouldn't beat you. It shouldn't be. There are so many opportunities for this offense. 0 for 7 runners in scoring position. Bases loaded, no outs in the second. Couldn't get a run. Came back to bite them. Lost a big one tonight.
Just 8 hits tonight. Had some early opportunities, including the bases loaded and nobody out in the second inning, and the Red Sox could not score a run. People will talk about that. Early coming out of the game. Early, 5 1/3, 80 pitches, but I think you're right. 8 hits, 1 run just ain't going to cut it.
So here's where I want to begin tonight on the Baseball Hour. Pretty simple. The downfall, or and downfall is too strong a word, but the current deterioration of the Red Sox, particularly as it pertains to the wild card race and where they are in the standings. I tried to warn you. That I was starting to feel this way based on the weekend against the Yankees, that there was no guarantee that you were going to beat Oakland and that you had to win the games. And naturally, the Red Sox come out in the series opener last night and lose 2-1, despite a terrific performance by Connelly early. That's 2 in 2 games, and the Red Sox lost nonetheless. 617-779-0985. Do you think they're going to blow it? Will that change your opinion on the season? If they do blow it, who are you going to blame? And for those of you who don't think that they are capable of blowing this thing, let me just tell you this up front. The last time I talked a little bit about some of this stuff last night, but the last time the Red Sox had what we would call a collapse at the end of the season was in 2011, when they had obviously a far superior team on paper than this one. Talent-wise, the 2011 Red Sox blew this one out of the water. Now, you ask me in terms of attitude, grit, resiliency, this team might actually have had more. The fact that that team in 2011 missed the playoffs is an embarrassment because they were stacked with talent. And the only reason I'm revisiting that whole thing is because at that time, Jimmy Stewart, I don't know if you remember this or not, but we had a client trip right around then. And we were in Vegas on that trip. And I remember people on our sales staff saying to me, are they going to blow this? Every day the question was the same. The Red Sox would lose again, slip deeper and deeper into the abyss, move closer and closer to a complete breakdown in a year where everybody didn't just think they were going to make the playoffs, demanded it and assumed it. To the point where when they were falling apart down the stretch, everyone still said they won't blow this. They'll win a few games, they'll get in, and then what they do in the playoffs, who the hell knows, but they'll get in and they'll make it. And my answer every day was, don't look at me, I don't have an answer for you. But can they blow it? Yes. Here's the point. When you let it get too far, it then becomes a problem. So my question now is, has it already gone too far? The Red Sox are no longer vying for the division. That's out. They're now 2 behind the Yankees in the loss column for the race for the top wildcard team, which would have been home field. I don't want to say that's out, but it certainly feels like it's becoming unlikely. You only have 11 to play, and the Yankees just beat you 2 out of 3. So the fact that you're in the spot with them is your fault. Not only that, Houston inched ahead of you in the wild card race last night. So not only do you no longer possess the top wild card spot, you don't have the second wild card spot. Now you're the third wild card team, which means if the season ended today, the Red Sox would have to fly cross country and go play the Seattle Mariners. So how do you like that scenario? You could have had an easy final week. eased your way into the postseason, opened at home against New York. Now you might have to scratch and claw, fight your way into the playoffs, and if you get in, get on a plane and fly cross country and play the next day. So I could see a scenario in which the Red Sox play on Sunday and actually send their starting pitcher for the wild card series for Game 1 out on Saturday. That guy wouldn't even be here because you got to get him out there and rested to pitch in the game on Monday. That could happen. Or maybe it would be Tuesday, but you get the idea. I haven't looked at the schedule. All of this is now in play. And I haven't even gotten to what actually happened on the field last night. What you heard was the final out of the game, but we all know what happened. The Red Sox led 1-0 in the middle innings. The game went into the sixth. Connelly early was pitching another beauty. Alex Cora took him out of the game because he didn't want him to face Brent Rooker of the A's. Now, I know there's been lots of speculation as to why Cora made the move. Will Middlebrook said on the broadcast that they want to protect Early's arm. They want to keep his future intact, so they're not going to push him. I really don't, my personal opinion, I don't think that that's why he came out of the game last night. I think they played matchups. I believe Cora when he says that. And by the way, when I say I believe Cora, that doesn't mean I'm defending him. It was over-managing at its finest. So my question of the Red Sox would be this. If you have good starters, and they obviously have Giolito, Bayo, and Crochet. Early is 2 for 2. Peyton Tolley didn't go 2 for 2 in his 2 starts. Connelly early has gone 2 for 2. So you've got the front of the game covered, at least right now. You've got the back end covered with Garrett Whitlock and Aroldis Chapman. The middle is where you are exposed. So why extend and make a bigger middle by taking Connelly early out of that game last night and going to Greg Weissert? And I know what Brent Rooker's numbers are against left-handers, but the move backfired on Alex Cora in multiple ways, which we'll get to. But I obviously want to hear from you. 11 to go. Everybody in the American League that could have won while the Red Sox lost last night basically won. The only team that didn't was Texas, but Texas played Houston. So one of those teams was going to win, one was going to lose. Houston won the game. Cleveland won, the Yankees won, the Mariners won, the Red Sox lost. And obviously the Astros won. That was a damaging defeat. Damaging. 617-779-0985. Matt kicks us off. He's in Rhode Island. Go ahead, Matt.
Matt, can you imagine if the Cleveland Guardians come and take the last spot from the Red Sox with all the issues they've had this year? Anyway, this happens in hockey. It happens in golf. Now it's happening in baseball. Whenever the pressure's on, the grip pressure goes way up. I'm wondering if anyone is considering, telling these guys to loosen up on the bat pressure and good things will happen. Just a thought. Thank you.
Yeah, so Matt, look, I think they're tight. I think Cora knows that they're tight. I think he saw it on the trip to Arizona and, Sacramento when he went down in the dugout and started mingling with the players and the coaches and just trying to be one of the guys. And I'm not blaming him for it, but I think I always look at it and say, when something like that happens and people say, oh, great move by Cora. Yeah, smart move. Yeah, he's trying to keep him loose. Okay, no problem. I mean, and I would say it's probably is smart. To me, the story is not whether it's a smart move or a dumb move. To me, the story is that he felt the need to do it at all. And the fact that he felt the need to do it in Arizona in the final game of that series suggested to me that he sensed that they were getting a little tight. Now, you tell me, when you watch the Red Sox hit with men in scoring position last night, did they look loose? Because they don't look loose to me. Connelly early looks pretty loose and comfortable. He's just out there pitching. Hard not to like that kid. As Dave O'Brien said, we'll play this for you in a bit. When Early left the mound last night, he said, boy, this kid has a bright future. And I agree. Now, that doesn't mean I think that Early is a front-end starter. He might not be. I think when Connelly early gets hit in his career, he's going to get hit hard. But he will probably be on the majority of the time because I think he's that artful on the mound. His stuff is pretty good, and he knows how to use it. So he makes his stuff better because he knows how to pitch. He's got a nice delivery. He throws a crap ton of strikes, 18 strikeouts, 1 walk so far in his 2 games. And last night, Alex Cora took him out of the game because he didn't want him to pitch to one guy. One guy. Now, again, at the time, 1-0 game. Cora doesn't want it to get away. You might have to win the game 1-0. So one guy can change the game. One swing of the bat can change the game. He went to Greg Weissert, who gave up 2, basically blew up, gave it up, as O'Brien said in the broadcast. His 9th blown save of the year, his 6th loss of the year, both among the most of all relievers in the majors, and a weak spot in the Red Sox pitching staff in the middle of the game. And they decided to expand it in that situation. Now, I'm just to be fair, you can say, well, you're going to let a rookie pitch in that spot to a guy that annihilates left-handed pitching and has almost 30 home runs this year? And who has an OPS over 800 and hits both righties and lefties, although he annihilates lefties? That would have been a mistake. Maybe. But the alternative was a mistake. And is it second guessing? Is it hindsight? Absolutely. 100%. It didn't work. Now, it wasn't the only reason the Red Sox lost the game. But it was probably the biggest one. So this is another thing that I'm eager to find out. If the Red Sox go down in a ball of fire here, how are you going to look at this season? Because the collapse is becoming more and more real by the day. So are you going to look at it as a failed season? Are you going to blame Cora? Are you going to blame the injury to Roman Anthony? Are you going to blame Craig Breslow? Who are you going to blame? I'm curious about that too. Because the idea right now that there will be no pain associated with this collapse, and I've heard a couple of people over the last couple of days call into Felger and Maz and say that I'm okay with it. They had a good year. I like the direction they're going. It's fine. That I cannot accept. They were 6 up in the wild card race 2 weeks ago. 6 games up. The kind of lead you would say you really can't blow in a month. And they might blow it. Noah in Kansas City on Alex Cora. Go ahead, Noah.
Yeah, Tony, I think it is all Cora's. It's really leading to Cora as the full blame. I mean, we look at last year, a collapse. 2023, we were up as much as 8 games over 500 late August. 2022, I mean, you go over the last 6 years, Tony, the consistent thing here I see is Alex Cora having a bad attitude and not being able to manage his way out of a paper bag, it seems like, with personal decisions and such. Just these second half collapse just keep on happening with him. I don't trust them for this season.
Okay, and Noah, look, you have a right to feel that way. I would tell you that for the majority of this year, he's had a good attitude. Although last night, I thought he kind of threw Greg Weissert under the bus, or at least put the onus on Greg Weissert. We'll play that for you as well. So we'll give you some sound. I want more of your reaction. And we'll get into all of the problems that affected the Red Sox last night. The decision in the 6th inning was not the only one. Obviously, we'll revisit some of those too tonight on the Baseball Hour.
This is the Baseball Hour on the Sports Hub.
Hey, it's Maz from Bigelow Tea, and you know what I like more than anything? Choices, options. So what does that have to do with Bigelow? Well, Bigelow has all of those things. Something everyone can enjoy. Chamomile.
changeup. Such a good pitch for him.
Goodness.
So his night is over. 7 strikeouts in the book. He can qualify for a win as Alex Cora takes away the baseball. And the fans at Fenway get a chance to salute the kid after what he did in Sacramento, what he did tonight. And there's one very bright future walking back to the Red Sox dugout. 1-0. Gives way to Weissert with a man at first. It's like they're going to go to Soderstrom coming off the bench. And Weissert's 3-2 pitch. Swing a high fly ball left field. Backing up Duran. Turning around. He's going to play it off the green. Heading into third, Wilson. He's going to try and score. Here's the throw to the plate. And not a good one. So tied up 1-1 here in the 6th. The go-ahead run at second.
Yeah, look, hindsight's 20/20. I get that, and I know they're trying to manage the workload of Connelly early on in his professional baseball career. But I would have loved to see him stay in this game.
Yep.
Get through this inning. And I know there's a method to the madness, and there's an equation to this, and trying to make sure that arm is healthy for the end of this season and beyond. But man, he was rolling.
And brings up Harris, who's 1 for 2 with a single. 1-1, and that's going to be in the left field for a base hit. The A's are going to take the lead. Soderstrom is in to score. That'll put him on at first and third, and Weissert continues to give it up. 3 consecutive batters reaching here. 2-1 A's.
Again, not the only reason they lost, probably the biggest reason they lost, because heaven knows they had plenty of opportunities to score, particularly early in the game. We'll get to the offense as well, because I know a lot of you have thoughts on that. But I will say in the same breath, the idea that we all know the Red Sox miss Roman Anthony. Clearly, obviously, he was having a tremendous impact on the team. They were basically 6 up when they lost him. So at that point, and be honest, I hate when people are disingenuous. Drives me crazy. If someone had told you they're 6 up with a month to go, but they just lost Anthony, do you think they'll miss the playoffs? And I think most of us would have said, no, they'll get in. I don't know what they'll be able to do when they get there. It depends who they play. But if they get some good pitching and get to the second round, well, then maybe they can get him back, and who the hell knows? Take your chances. Play it out. What if another team has an injury? What if Tarek Skubal goes down with the Tigers? And he had I think it was an oblique issue recently. But there are all types of possibilities. What if Aaron Judge continues to be Aaron Judge in the postseason and sucks? Just play it out. So the idea of kissing off the season because Roman Anthony is hurt, to me, is asinine. I don't get that way of thinking. Well, no, we've accomplished enough. We need him to win it all. This is what happens when you win World Series. You start to look at everything as pass-fail. You either win the championship or you don't. And that's all well and good, but you do have to learn some things along the way to be able to win it. So it would be beneficial for lots of these guys to get into the postseason and play. You're telling me Brian Bayo couldn't benefit from pitching in the postseason? And hell, what about Garrett Crochet? It's not like he's ever done it. Garrett Whitlock, Wilyer Abreu, if he ever comes back and plays. Playing in the postseason alone has value. If you want to win a championship next year or the year after, it would help to get into the postseason and have some of these guys experience it. It just blows me away how everyone thinks you show up and win a championship. Like it's some sort of birthright or natural order of events. You have to fight for it, and you have to be ready for it. Jason in Derry, New Hampshire on Craig Breslow. What do you got, Jason?
Now, as you asked the playing game, and in the event they flame out, I would blame Breslow, and I blame him because how come Roman Anthony didn't break camp with the team? He goes down to the minors. He's like a Burt Reynolds amongst boys. It's like 99 percentile this metric, 99 percentile this other metric. He doesn't join the team until halfway through the season. I think that is ridiculous.
So, Jason, it's a good point. It's probably one of the things it comes up. I don't want to say it comes up, but it's one of the things that we don't necessarily put on Breslow right away. Let's not forget Christian Campbell broke with the team instead of Roman Anthony or Marcelo Meyer, or take your pick. And, and Marcelo Meyer had the best camp. But Anthony should have been up here earlier. And I think there was some disagreement internally in the organization about bringing Anthony up earlier or later. And on that one, I will agree. The Red Sox put the long term ahead of the short. So they brought up Campbell, who had agreed to their contract. And they started the year with Anthony in the minors. And the idea was maybe he'll be a rookie next year and we'll be able to get another draft pick or whatever their logic was. Then they brought him up and their season took off. And I'm glad you brought this up because this is another thing, too. Everybody puts the trade deadline on Breslow, but that they didn't do enough. They certainly could have used another right-handed reliever last night, that's for sure. But why do people just throw out the first 80 games of the year when the Red Sox kind of had their heads up their ass, or maybe not kind of, made stupid mistakes and lost a crap ton of one-run games? Why did they just dismiss that? You telling me those wins wouldn't have made a difference and that you couldn't be closer to the division now and be an absolute lock for the playoffs? I mean, all those games counted and all those games hurt. They have the third most blown saves in baseball. Third most. How many games have they given away? Glenn in New Orleans on Alex Cora. Go ahead, Glenn.
Yeah, MLB has been protecting pitchers for 10 years, and what has it gotten us? More injuries. So don't give me that line, please. Cora goes out there, and he says he pulled them because of who was coming up. I think we're paying Cora all this money for him to use his baseball intellect, intuition, his gut feeling, and know this guy's rolling. I don't need to go take him out because Brent Rooker is coming out. When are they going to start playing baseball again? The problem is everything is done by what the tablet tells them to do, and that's why the game sucks as opposed to the 60s and 70s. Thanks.
Okay, so Glenn, I don't totally disagree with you. I don't like that part of the game either. And there are a lot of people that believe that the matchups are preordained, the whole game plan's laid out ahead of time. And if Rooker comes up in the middle innings and Connelly early has thrown 80-some-odd pitches and has faced him twice already on the night, we're not going to let him face Rooker in the middle innings. The people who argue that, and Felger argued it today on Felger and Mass, I can't sit here and tell him he's wrong. That happens with a lot of teams now. That sort of thinking and game planning. And let alone with the analytics influence and everything else where someone says, do not let Early face Rooker 3 times under any circumstances. Now, the one thing that I will dismiss, and I say I dismiss it, that I'm not going to buy based on last night. And again, Felger touched on this. Will Middlebrook said it during the broadcast. The idea that they have to think of Early's future. They got to protect him. They got to save the arm for the short term and the long. And that's part of the reason they pulled him from the game. There's no question the Red Sox have been thinking for the long term more than the short. Last night's decision to me was not about that. First of all, he threw 90 pitches in Oakland a week ago. Last night he was at 80. So if they were willing to let him go to 90 the first time, why did they take him out at 80 this time? And if your answer is, well, in the game in Oakland, he had a bigger lead. This game was 1-0. And I would say, right. So it's not about the pitches, it's about the situation. It's about what the at-bat with Rooker could have meant in the game. Now, I have seen enough of Greg Weissert for 10 lifetimes. I didn't like Weissert early in the year, and I said this to Jared Carabas when he was here. I said there were 2 relievers on the team that I trust. Carabas said, I think it's 3 or 4. Weissert was one of the guys he included. I'm not picking on Jared. I'm just saying some of you may like Weissert. I don't. I think Weissert is your classic middle reliever. You put him in a spot where there's something big and he can't do it. And look, at the end of the day, that's not his fault. That's who he is. That's why the best relievers in baseball, there are only a handful of them that can pitch in high-pressure, high-leverage situations and I always say the 8th and 9th innings with the game on the line, but the way the game is managed now, just let's call them pressure situations. So Cora decided last night, I'd rather have Weissert, who's been around a little bit, than Early, who's been here for 10 minutes. I'd have gone with Early. I've seen enough with Weissert to know what he is. Just my 2 cents. And is it easy for me to say that after the fact? Of course. Yes. Last night it cost him a game. Now, a week from now, if Early's going to pitch again on Sunday, which is another thing, by the way, if they're so worried about his arm and his durability, he's pitching again in five days. Regular rest. He's getting the ball Sunday. They've already announced it. So if they were really worried about him, they give him the Peyton Tolley treatment and stick him in the bullpen. So I don't think it's about the number of pitches he's throwing or anything like that. I think it was a bad baseball decision. And it's easy to second guess. I say that again. But it was a mistake. Kevin Majori's got your headlines. When we come back, very easy to argue that the Red Sox didn't lose that game in the middle innings yesterday. They lost it in the early innings. We'll explain when we come back.
Essential Sports Hub headline presented by South.
In the second, Eaton, Sogard, and Duran in the pitch. He got him. Change-up, struck him out. One away, Gonzalez next.
It's another one of those at-bats where just the ball in play gets a run on the board, right? And he saw everything away in this at-bat. This one over the plate, probably thinking, okay, he's coming in with the fastball cutter, but he pulled the string on the changeup. Stay down, way out front.
Now 2-2 on roaming. Ground ball right at Wilson to Hernandez. That's one on to first. Double play. And a killer. Red Sox loaded the bases. Nobody out and failed to score.
Problem. They now need to rely on other ways to win. And they can't because they're not good at them. So they don't bunt. They don't move guys over. They haven't been hitting home runs lately, which is another reason why they're not scoring. But again, this amplifies their inability to do a lot of those little things at a time like this when you have to win games 2-1, 3-2, 4-3, whatever it is. You're going to have to pitch, play defense, advance runners, get runs home. That second inning last night. So just think of how different the game would have been if you got 4 runs that inning. All of a sudden, the A's might look at it and go, all right, we're not going to win this game. We got no pitching going tonight. We never have any pitching going. So we'll get our at-bats, but this kid's dealing. He shut us down last week. He'll shut us down again. Maybe the Red Sox win the game 6-1. Instead, they lose it 2-1 because they don't score. They don't get the opponent on its heels. And the whole game could have changed. In that second inning, let's see. I'm trying to give you the exact play-by-play. Nate Eaton singled to lead off the inning, and then Sogard singled, so now you have first and second. Smartly, Eaton didn't try to go to third on this play, which is what he did against the Yankees and got thrown out. But anyway, Jarren Duran comes up, and Cora had him hitting 8th last night. It was against a left-hander, but the fact that with the Red Sox lineup being what it is, Cora moved Duran to the number 8 spot should tell you plenty. So when Duran came to bat, runners at first and second, nobody out. Part of me wondered, maybe a bunt here. Now Duran can run, so the threat of a double play is low, and Cora probably decided at that point, the chance of a double play are low. He runs well, so I'm not going to bunt. Cora was right. He made the right move. Duran ended up walking. So now instead of second and third with 1 out, if you had bunted, now you have the bases loaded with nobody out. Here comes Ceddanne Rafaela against a guy who's throwing 92 miles an hour. And he gets up in the count 2-0. So now, bases loaded, nobody out, left-handed pitcher on the mound, right-handed batter in the batter's box. And as I look it up, let me find out what Rafaela is against left-handed pitching this year, because I'm going to venture to guess it's pretty damn good. You're going to have to give me a second while I do a little bit of research here and punch this thing up. Ceddanne Rafaela against left-handed pitching. Now, this includes last night's game, but, okay, so I'm wrong. It's lower. The batting average is .218. So he's been bad against lefties too, but it's a favorable matchup nonetheless. Strikes out. Can't even make contact and put the ball in play. This is the same guy who was, it felt like, walking them off every night during that 10-game winning streak. Now, here we are a few months later, and he can't make contact against a guy throwing 92 in a game with potential playoff implications, bases loaded and no one out. So up comes Romy Gonzalez, who's annihilated left-handed pitching all year long. Annihilated it. Been one of the best in baseball against lefties. He steps into the batter's box, hits into a double play, inning over, no runs scored. So now 2 things. 1, Rafaela's got to make contact there. And when he doesn't, Gonzalez has got to get the ball in the air. At a minimum, you got to get a run home. Take the lead, go from there. Get the ball in the air. He hits into 2. And then he hit into another double play in the 9th inning to end the game. So Romy Gonzalez killed him last night in some ways. So We can focus on the pitching change, and the Red Sox had the lead in the middle of the game despite the failed rally in the second inning. It was still there for them. They blew it. But going forward, Rafaela can't strike out with nobody out and the bases loaded. Gonzalez has got to get the ball in the air. They can't give away runs. They got a runner picked off late in the game. I think it was Sogard who got picked off first base to end the eighth. Was it the seventh, Jimmy? Do you remember?
It was the eighth inning.
Okay, it was the eighth inning. So you're down one at that point. You get picked off to end the inning. Dumb, 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 dumb. And some of that stuff in the batter's box, you can sit there and say, well, what are you going to do? He struck out. It's not like he was trying to strike out. Shorten up on the swing, make contact, get the ball in play.
Or cheat better, steal signs better.
Whatever it takes, Jimmy. Whatever it takes. Back to your calls. George and Malden on the Red Sox at Fenway Park. Go ahead, George.
Hi. In the last 13 home games, they have lost 9 of them. And they should ask Alex Bregman to become the new manager of the Boston Red Sox.
So why do you blame Cora for the losses? Okay, George hung up on me. I'm not sure why that part is Cora's fault. But I would tell you that of late they've been losing everywhere. So what are they, Jimmy? They're 4-7 without Roman Anthony. Is that what it is? That
is correct, yeah.
Okay, and also the other thing during that period of time, and this should not be lost on you, they've had other games that they've had games in there they could have won. There have been mistakes made, and of their 4 wins, 2 have come with Garrett Crochet. You want to get into panic mode? What if you lose? Let's just say you split the next 2 with the A's and then Crochet loses on Friday night. You cannot lose the games that Garrett Crochet pitches anymore. You haven't been able to lose them for a long time, so this part's kind of obvious. Giolito should win tonight. Bayo should win tomorrow night. What if you start losing those games? Can't afford any losses in the next 3 days. Your season might depend on it. Now, I'm giving you the extreme cases here. If they win all 3, they'll be in good shape. They'll be down to 8 to go, and I'm presuming they will have gained on some people. If they lose all 3, with those 3 guys going, and Friday night is Crochet against Tampa, look out. Weekend series, sneaky big one. Matt Harrison's going to pitch on Saturday. Kyle Harrison, not Matt. Kyle Harrison's going to pitch on Saturday. Early goes back out there on Sunday. So you're only getting one of your quote-unquote big 3. That's Crochet on Friday night. Jason in a car. Jason, what do you got?
Maz, the benefit of the Red Sox making the playoffs is huge for everybody. Justify Breslow's somewhat his decision to move on and, from Devers. It also benefits Cora. If Breslow doesn't like Cora, wants to have his own manager, Cora probably gets to stay if they get in the playoffs, and obviously the financial benefits for the front office. I feel there's no drawbacks for the younger players getting into the playoffs, even having the experience. Now, some people might say if they get in the playoffs and lose, 2 in a row and they get eliminated, they feel like they'd rather not get in the playoffs than get eliminated so easily. I'm of the belief that the benefits of getting into the playoffs are huge for every major player in this organization, particularly the younger players, which is why the fact that I don't see any urgency here is very strange to me, because I really think that, if they do get in the playoffs, there's not going to be any discussion about Cora losing his job. Now I feel like there is some of that discussion, and I would feel like he'd be managing with more urgency, realizing that I've got to get in the playoffs to make sure this talk about me losing my job doesn't happen. What do you think about that?
So, I think Cora's, his job could be, absolutely could be on the table. So, I don't know what to tell you definitively. I don't know what the Red Sox are thinking about it. It's not like, who the hell knows what they're going to do at the end of the day. They may look at it like many of the fans do, like many of you do, and say, well, Roman Anthony went down. It's all gravy at this point. So be it. We made the decision to trade Rafael Devers in the middle of the year. We didn't even think Roman Anthony was going to have the impact he did, so we're okay with it. I don't know. I have no idea. I know this. If they miss the playoffs, those of you who care will be calling for Alex Cora's job. And I don't think that's unreasonable given the collapse at the end of the season and what was, specified as a team goal this year, which was making the playoffs. Now, would I do it? I need to see how it goes. My gut tells me no. I don't think that at the end of the day that the manager's really a problem, although he certainly was last night. I think they have other issues. They still need talent. But making the playoffs, absolutely a benefit. Even the idea of getting in there and losing and then somehow that's not beneficial to the young guys, just having gone through what the postseason is, will help them the second time through. Doesn't mean that they will perform. You have no idea to know that. But it will help them. We'll wrap it up when we come back in the Baseball Hour.
You're listening.
don't need to tell you, Red Sox starting at 6:45 now, late in the year. Kids are back in school. Little earlier start time. They're in the bottom of the first. No score. They should be able to put some runs up against this guy tonight, even without Roman Anthony. Apparently, they're not allowed to score in the eyes of many of you without Roman Anthony in the lineup. All of a sudden, it's okay to get 0. This guy here gives up home runs. Righties hit him better than lefties, and he just threw a hanging cut fastball to Trevor Story a minute ago that he belted about 420 feet foul down the left field line. Couple more of those, and you'll be in good shape tonight. Squeeze in one more call before we go. Scott's in a car on Nick Sogard, I think. Go ahead, Scott.
Hey, guys. Thanks for taking my call. I just watching the game last night, it was like a microcosm watching Sogard get picked off, and it seemed like the NESN broadcast called it before it even happened. They knew it was going to happen, and then the drop ball in right field. Tough night for him. I just would be curious to hear your thoughts on how they're going to replace these guys if Anthony and Abreu don't come back as soon as we think they will. Thank you.
Yeah, Scott, the answer is they're not going to replace those guys. I mean, I'd like to think that at this stage, the Red Sox have their best players here that they could have. And I'm talking about what the options are given some of the injuries and ailments. The two big ones are Abreu and Roman Anthony. Okay, those are probably your two best home run hitters now. And I say now, meaning, Bregman, I've never really thought of him as being like a 30 home run guy. I thought of him as being more like a 25 home run guy with lots of doubles and more complete player than, particularly blessed in one area more than another. But those other two guys are left-handed, hit home runs, and you're going to see a majority of right-handed pitching. Those two hurt. And it'd be nice if they could get Abreu back in the lineup. Apparently it's not going to happen before Tampa Bay. Anyway, Joe Murray has you for the balance of the night. Kevin Majori is going to get you caught up on headlines here. We'll catch you tomorrow on the Baseball Hour.
From the Telstra Tire Studios, WBZ FM and HD1. It's not just the games. It's Toucher and Hardy, Zolak and Bertrand, Felger and Maz, Joe Murray. For Boston sports fans, it's 98.5, the Sports